Welcome, everyone, to the L7C podcast, Buckeye edition. Today, we are going to be going over OSU's game that just finished against the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. And we have our captain with us, Byron Mitchell. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Had a little break in between some work stuff, and I was like, let's get it in real quick so we could get it out to our beloved fans out there.
Yes, sir.
So, Byron, man, we played Tulsa. This is our first game after our loss to Oregon. We come out on top 41-20, but there were still things that we still needed to work on. So, Byron, what did you like about what we did or what you saw? What did you not like? And how are you feeling right now? Now, 3 games into OSU season.
So the first thing I liked is that we got our running game going. TreVeyon Henderson had a monster game, 24 carries, 277 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So I'm glad that we got our running game going against the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. That is one thing I didn't like. I did like, excuse me. And then one thing I didn't like, of course, is the defense, because on that first drive, Tulsa almost scored a touchdown on their opening drive, but only came away with 3 points. And that is not something you want to see as an Ohio State fan, just a team going down the field on their opening drive and scoring.
Right. Because Tulsa, at halftime, people were getting a little dicey because it was 13-6.
Yes.
At half. And we were like, 13-6 against Tulsa at half, and we were huge favorites in the game.
So. Yeah, we were like 25-point favorites. And then just at halftime be up only by 7 points is insane. Like, just this defense, man.
Yeah, you talk about the defense, and Ohio State had 508 total yards, and you would expect that from our Ohio State offensive team. Tulsa had 501.
Insane. Their quarterback had 428 passing yards.
Yeah,
2 touchdowns.
Yep, he went 31 for 54, 428, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Davis Bryant, and I don't think in his past games, I'm trying to look at his past games, like he has not even come close to that. Like Oklahoma State, he threw for 224. UCD, who I even need to look up who UCD is. UC Davis Aggies. He only had about 201 yards. And then Ohio State, the biggest team he's played this year and probably will the rest of the year, he throws for 428.
Insane. A Big Ten defense gave up 428 yards to a quarterback.
From Tulsa.
Who only threw like 200 plus in his 2 previous games against not Power 5 teams. A non-Power 5 team has a better defense than Ohio State. That is insane. I never thought I would say those words.
Oh, man. And turnovers, Tulsa had 2 turnovers like we talked about the picks. We had 2 turnovers. They saw through a interception. First downs, Tulsa had 25. We had 24. Time of possession, Tulsa had it for 31 minutes and 34 seconds. OSU 28, 26. So pretty even there. But yeah, man, it was interesting because Kerry Combs was in the booth for this game.
Yep, I saw that.
And we didn't do a lot of man. We did a lot of zone. So it's like, if we're doing zone and a decent quarterback can find those spots within the zone, I mean, you're going to get a whole bunch of yards in. We didn't pull away from this game until halftime because we scored 14 in the third, 14 in the fourth. They only scored 7 in the third, 7 in the fourth, and that was the ball game. So, and then CJ Stroud went 15 for 25, 185, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Chris Olave did not have a catch this game.
Which is strange. He's our number 1 wide receiver. He doesn't have a catch.
Yeah, there was one that he dropped, but yeah, he did not have a catch. And at that point of the game, I was just like, whatever, it's the TreVeyon Henderson show. Just let's get out of there now.
Yep.
Like, you've got 277, which he broke the freshman rushing record I believe. So just get him out of there and let's go home, in which we did. And then also a big thing about this game, Byron, obviously some people were making about the attendance at the game.
It was like 71,000, which is
Yeah,
the
about
lowest.
71 to 76,000, which is the lowest in a long time. But like you said, we were 25-point favorites, and it was Tulsa. And not that many people, I mean, are going to want to go to Tulsa, especially if you're still paying like those high ticket prices.
Right.
Like if you lowered the ticket prices for Tulsa, then people would have paid and showed up. But it was also the first week after a loss.
Right. And you think we would just want to explode, and which we didn't.
Yeah. We didn't. And I was just one of those things like OSU fans. It's like, oh man, we just lost, whatever. Some of them like season's over, which I mean, there's still a lot of football to be played, but yeah, I was a little shocked by the number. But again, it's Tulsa. I think there's going to be less numbers next week. Have you seen that we're playing Akron? We're a 50+ point favorite against Akron.
Oh yeah,
50
I don't expect.
plus.
Is it at Ohio State or is it
at It's Akron? At Ohio State, and they made that game a night game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess sure, make it a night game, whatever. But I wouldn't expect a lot there either, especially if we're 50-point favorites.
Yeah, like why would it's one of those things. Like, why would you pay over $100 for not even a great ticket to sit there and watch OSU, who's a 50-point favorite against Akron, and the game, if holds true, should be over by the first quarter. So you just drove through all that traffic, parked, paid $100+ just for the game to be over in the first quarter, and then you leave.
Right.
But that's the thing, like scheduling and stuff like that. So, and also like, I don't know the last time you've been to an OSU game, but Wi-Fi there is not great. So like, I mean, the seats are still the seats, but it's like bathrooms are still pretty hard to get to. So it's like, you got to, I mean, you have all that money. You're doing the improvements, man. You got the money. Improve that Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and maybe add another bathroom somewhere.
Like, shoot, I mean, this game should be over by halftime. But will it though, Byron? Will it though?
You just never know. Like this game, Tulsa game should have been over by halftime, or at least the first quarter. It was not. So with this Ohio State team, like I'm not mad at the offense. That defense, man, you just don't know with the defense.
So Akron's quarterback, Irons, he's currently on the year 44 for 58, 534 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. DJ Irons. So, and he's played Auburn, where they lost 60-10.
Okay.
Temple, where they lost 45-24. And then the Bryant Bulldogs, who I have never heard of them. Akron beat 35-14. The highest he's thrown in a game was against Bryant, 296. Does he throw that much more or less against this OSU defense?
I'm going to say more.
That's wild.
Let's go with the over.
So, Byron, also another thing with OSU, man, people are talking about CJ and his 185, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. I mean, even after the Oregon thing, which we talked about, which Cedric was on, which is why people are talking about benching him. He's talked about he's had a shoulder injury for a little bit, but he said that after the first game, no one's 100% healthy. 3 games in, man, what are you feeling about CJ? Because me personally, I'm still feeling a lot of this stuff is premature. I did retweet his press game conference where he was just like, man, I mean, I'm 19 and like,
right,
I'm learning every day. And what are you thinking about like right now?
I am still impressed with CJ Stroud. I think he's been doing very well the first 2 games. I mean, he struggled this game. Every quarterback is going to have a game where they struggle. I think a lot of the hate is very premature. We're only 3 games in. He's had some monster games. I mean, he's on an interception in each game, which is it happens. So I'm still a fan of him. I just wanting to see where he goes from here after not a big game after this. So what he does against Akron. And I think a lot of, like I said, a lot of it is premature, and a lot of fans are spoiled from our previous quarterback because we have JT Barrett. I can't think of his name. CJ12.
Oh, Cardell Jones.
Yes, Cardell Jones. Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had some great
Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins. So like the last 4 quarterbacks that we've had have been very impressive. So I think most Ohio State fans are spoiled and want to see that type of production from CJ Stroud. But he's a true freshman. He's only 19. He has a lot of room to grow. So a lot of fans are unnecessarily hard on him.
I also think, too, with the OSU fan base, it's like, off the top of your head, Byron, when's the last time we had a true freshman starting?
I can't even remember.
Exactly. I think people are forgetting that. Justin Fields wasn't a true freshman.
No.
He came he was that couple years at Georgia. Dwayne Haskins was not a true freshman. He was in the bench. Like, he started his junior year where he could have came back for a senior year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, JT Barrett was there all 4 years. Cardell was there for his 3 whatever years. Like, I mean, Braxton was there for his couple of years. Like, I'm trying to even remember the last true freshman to start. It might have been even Terrell Pryor did not start immediately. I mean, he ended up starting later at the end of the year, but even he didn't start immediately.
Right. I want to say it's Justin Zwick, but I could be wrong about that.
Like, it's been a while since, like, you walk into campus and you're the starter at OSU football.
Yeah.
Because usually there's someone who's behind you or, like, who's ahead of you. Like, we have a junior or senior and then this next man up. This time is the only time, like, ever we've had all these people come in at the same age, really. Like, if you really look back, it's been a long time since we've just had a fresh face person. And I know there's, like, red shirt, whatever, but he's 19 years old. It's been a while.
Right. He's up. Let him get through this first year and then make your criticism.
I would also say, too, so I know it's been the first time in a while someone this young and fresh face has started, like, in this new age of, like, social media.
Yeah, that's very true.
With, like, Snapchat, Twitter, I mean, Instagram, every random Joe Schmo having a take on you. Like, I saw something, it's like, oh, I hate to say this, but after 3 games, OSU needs to bench CJ Stroud. I'm like, what?
Why? What has he done wrong? I think he's thrown 3, maybe 4 interceptions in
3 picks.
Games.
He's threw one. It's won a game so far.
Right, and he's had 2 multi-touchdown games. Like, this is the first game where he's only had 1 touchdown. It's only the 3rd game. Like,
but he didn't have to throw because Henderson was running all over the place.
Right.
So I'm more into the defense. Like, that's where my focus is.
Same.
Because people are like, points. I'm like, it's cool if you could score points, but if you can't stop anybody,
what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, sure, it's cool, like, if you're playing lesser competition, but once we get back to the Big Ten schedule, I mean, it's going to be something else. And Byron, I know we did the preview on OSU's schedule in our first Buckeye podcast, and now this schedule is pretty tough, man. Like, I don't know if people have been seeing what's been going on in the Big Ten, especially the Big Ten East. It's pretty dangerous. Like, we're up there now with potentially being one of the best divisions in college football right now.
Yeah, because we have Penn State, who just beat Auburn.
Big win for the Big Ten, because we failed last week. That was a big – if we would have had 2 big nationally televised games in a row of us, I mean, our best team in the Big Ten, us losing to Oregon, and then if Auburn, who I don't even know they're still ranked and they're still good, but them, they weren't in the top 3 in the SEC, walking into our second best Big Ten team, our best Big Ten environment. I mean, because ABC whiteout at night, Penn State is different.
it's a dangerous game for any team to play.
We have been there. We have lost games there. We have eked out games there. It is when it's ABC at night, Penn State whiteout, it is dangerous.
They just elevate so much. Their fans are so into it in a whiteout night game.
And
I just want to go to that stadium just for one whiteout game, just to say I've been.
That's a spot, man. That is a spot. But then also with Penn State, did you see how that ref effed up?
Yeah, I didn't see it because I was still at the wedding reception, but I heard about it, and that is abysmal officiating job.
That person should be fired.
Yeah.
They gotta all go. But just think about it. Rutgers, who Greg Schiano's there, shout out to Greg. They're not the same Rutgers right now. They're doing pretty well. Rutgers is 3-0 right now. So Rutgers, Maryland, who has a baby Tua still there.
Yep.
They're 3-0. Indiana is 1-2, but their 2 losses have been to top 10 teams.
Iowa and then
Cincinnati this past Saturday, who they were ahead for a half, and then Cincinnati just came through. So they're still good. They still have Penix, and we know how that goes. We're talking about our pass defense.
Still have Freifogel.
Yep, they still got them. Penn State, who's in the Big Ten East, they're 3-0, just had the biggest win for the Big Ten. And they're number 6 in the country. And then another Big Ten East team who me and you said if they become anything close like their old selves of this past decade, could be trouble. Michigan State,
their running game,
who's 3-0. They just beat a top 25 team in Miami, Florida. To be honest, I felt like they beat the brakes off of Miami worse than what Alabama did. And that's saying something.
That's saying a lot, especially since it's an unranked Michigan State team.
And now they're ranked. And Mr. Walker III has 57 carries, 493 yards, and 5 touchdowns already in 3 games.
Insane. I am not looking forward to facing them later this year.
And then, of course, the other team in the Big Ten East is Michigan.
I think they're 3-0 too.
They're 3-0. They started the year, Michigan and Michigan State started the year unranked. And now Michigan, they're 19 in the country.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't rank Michigan State after beating Miami.
Oh, they are. They're 20th.
Oh, Michigan State is?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So we got a lot of ranked teams in the Big Ten.
We'll go to our rankings as we do for you guys after we're talking about the Big Ten East. And yeah, man, I mean, Michigan, sure it was Northern Illinois, but
they just put up, 63-10?
63-10.
Yep, I know their running back is very good. I can't think of his name right now, but
I think Michigan has changed, though, ever since they hired Mike Hart this year.
Mike Hart.
And all those Buckeye fans, we know who Mike Hart is.
Yeah.
So I think he's fine. He's instilling that stuff into Michigan because now, ever since he got there, now they had the beat Ohio drill. They had the beat Ohio drill. You heard Harbaugh saying, we're going to beat our rivals. We're going to die trying. I mean, I'm still a long ways to go. They got some big games coming up. Michigan has Rutgers, which Rutgers is 3. And that's an ABC game. That's going to be a big game. Then they have Wisconsin after that.
That's always a big game.
Then Saturday, October 30th, Byron, is going to be a really big day for the Big Ten as a whole. You have OSU versus Penn State.
Oof.
And you have Michigan versus Michigan State.
That's
going to be a big, Michigan State, and then they have Indiana. From October 30th to the rest of the season, Michigan has Michigan State, Indiana, Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State. I didn't even realize we're going to Michigan this year.
Yep. Because they were supposed to come to us last year, but they canceled due to COVID.
That's problematic. So,
yeah,
man, we the Big Ten East right now is pretty crazy. So then when you go on the national thing, we did actually drop a spot in the AP. We went to 10th In the coaches poll, we went to 12th. Just look at the Big Ten teams and the rankings. Iowa is number 5 in the country. Penn State is 6th. We're 10th. Then you go down. Wisconsin's 18th. Michigan's 19th. Michigan State is 20th.
So that's 6 ranked Big Ten teams?
Yeah.
Good.
2 in the top 6, 3 in the top 10. And then you look at the rest. Alabama's still number 1. Georgia's 2. Oregon 3. Oklahoma 4. Iowa 5. Penn State 6. Texas A&M 7. Cincinnati 8. Clemson 9. OSU 10 in the AP top 25. Byron, on the national scene, I'm going to be honest, man. Florida showed some heart because they could have beat Alabama.
They could have.
Like, that showed that this isn't the same juggernaut. Like, they're mortal Alabama. I know they're still the favorites, but things can be done against Bama.
This might be somebody's year to finally beat Bama and keep them out of the playoffs.
But it's been 2 out of the 3 games, man. I don't know why Oklahoma's in the top 4. I don't know why they started the year number 2 so far. I really don't. If you watch, Nebraska is one of the worst teams in the Big Ten, and Nebraska had a game with them. If it wasn't for the pick of the year, Nebraska maybe could have pulled it out.
Yeah. Nebraska really showed their own, which is great to see. A Big Ten team.
I think they were almost a 30. I think they were almost a 30 to 20 point underdog that game.
I believe so. What was the final score?
I know it was low. I don't even think anyone reached the 30s. Let me get that for you. Oklahoma won 23 to 16.
Wow, so about a touchdown, basically.
Yeah. Nebraska.
Yeah. Oklahoma should have trounced Nebraska. No offense to Nebraska.
Oh, yeah, they should have.
Nebraska showed hard. They're like, hey, we're not going home. We're going to show what the Big Ten can do against another Power 5 conference. So respect to Nebraska. But if you struggle against Nebraska, I don't know if you should be ranked that high. Because they almost lost their first game to
Tulsa.
No, yeah.
Tulane. They had the T teams mixed up.
Yeah, that was a 5-point game.
Mm-hmm. So, Byron, you know how we end our podcast as we talk about the national scene and all of that. What are we feeling right now? Because there's some big. October 2nd, we've already previewed. Cincinnati plays Notre Dame. If Notre Dame stays undefeated, because Notre Dame actually plays Wisconsin this Saturday, if I'm correct. Yeah, they're playing Wisconsin, which is a number 18 team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So if they beat Wisconsin, and Notre Dame, you want to talk about survive and advance? They are playing survive and advance. They have not had a decisive win all year.
Nope.
So far.
Florida State almost beat them. I forgot who they played their second game.
Toledo.
Yep. Toledo almost beat them.
32-29.
Purdue was in there for a while.
27-13. They got Wisconsin coming up. And then they got the big one with Cincinnati. And Cincinnati needs Notre Dame to obviously be ranked as high as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Cincinnati beats Notre Dame, man, because seeing the teams in front of them, some of these teams, they're guaranteed there's going to be losses on the teams in front of them throughout the season. Like Texas and A&M too, I don't think they should be in the top 10. I'm sorry. They haven't been impressive to me. I know they had the 34-0 win, but against Colorado, they won 10-7.
They almost lost that game too.
I know. I honestly feel like it's more from a marketing thing, and they're trying to get to the 10-9 game versus Alabama.
Yep.
But I don't see it. Georgia right now, I can't say Georgia deserves to be in the top 3. That defense is crazy. Honestly, also, but I can make a case that Oregon and Iowa have more impressive wins because I don't think Clemson's it this year, man. They're not showing it. They have no offense.
They're not showing it at all, which is very surprising to see because everyone had them. I think they were in the top 4.
Oh yeah,
at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're 9. We're 10. It's been a very interesting college football year.
Georgia Tech, they only beat them 14-8.
That's true.
Like, obviously they're not going to be playing anyone else for the rest of the year, but they only beat Georgia Tech 14-8. I honestly right now wish we had like a college football playoff sound, but we're a mom and pop podcast. Right now, the ACC ain't getting in, so that spot's gone. I'm sorry.
The ACC is not getting in.
As of right now, they're out. North Carolina, it ain't happening.
Yeah, they need a ton of chaos for the rest of the season for them to get in, which I don't see that it happening for them.
No, I'm feeling right now, currently, it's going to be the SEC champ, a one-loss SEC team if they're both undefeated. Right now, the Big Ten champ, and then I was about to say, well, shoot.
Pac-12 might be in there, Oregon.
I think if Oregon stays undefeated, yeah, but if Oregon stays undefeated and Oklahoma stays undefeated, I feel like Oregon right now has the best win against us.
Yeah.
Oklahoma. So that's the thing. One of those conferences might be out too.
That is insane.
So ACC, they're going to be out. Then it'll be between the Big 12 and the Pac-12, because I think the Big 10 will get someone in, even if it's not us, just looking. Because if it's not us, that means Penn State beat us and went to the Big 10 championship game.
Yep.
Or Iowa beat us in the Big 10 championship game.
Yeah.
So I think the Big 10 is in a good spot to get in right now, because Iowa, oh man, we'll see, because 10-9, October 9th, Iowa plays Penn State.
At Penn State?
Oh, Byron's getting nervous. No, it's in Iowa.
Oh, Kinnick Stadium?
Yeah.
Oh, that way. Oh, that's a hostile environment too.
Byron, we might have to preview that just for because that's going to affect us a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're either going to play an undefeated Penn. If Penn State beats Iowa, Penn State will be in the top 3. If Iowa beats Penn State, they will be in the top 3.
Who do you push out of the top 3?
Because right now that game is 5 versus 6. If they play today,
oh yeah, I'm gonna have to be locked in for that game.
Like that is 10-9. Time to be determined. I feel like that's gonna
I feel like that has to be a night game.
Or would you do night game for Iowa, or you get the 3:30 ABC slot so you could do that wave for the hospital thing? We know about that.
That's true.
Because they
I feel like they can still do the wave at the nighttime.
That's true. That's if game day would have to be there. But what else?
Oh, for sure.
But what else is going? Wait, is that also Alabama and Texas A&M 10-9? Hold me to that.
If it is.
Yes, it is.
Ooh.
That's 10-9. Oh, that's a big week coming in 2 weeks, in a couple weeks. Oh my God, I actually don't know where game day would go.
I think it would have to go.
I don't know.
Personally, I think it should go to Iowa and Penn State.
I do, because they're closer in rankings.
Yeah.
That game's good. Oh my God. I don't think Buckeye fans are realizing in 2 weeks. Like, I know we talked about it. Would you rather want an undefeated Penn State, or you rather want an undefeated Iowa? Like, this is huge.
Oh, man. Because we played Penn State first.
Yes. And we have to get to Penn. We have to get to Iowa, because we're assuming they're going to win the Big Ten West.
Assuming. I think I would rather play an undefeated Penn State first.
So that means Iowa. They have to beat Iowa.
Yeah.
See?
I mean, either way. Well, assuming we make it to the Big Ten championship. I think either if we, face Penn State and win, or face Iowa and win, or either one's undefeated, that makes us look good. But I don't know who's more dangerous right now. I think it would have to be Penn State, because they just came
Penn
with a big win.
State's defense is low-key. It's elite. They don't play.
Right, because they just had a defensive battle against Wisconsin the first game, right?
Yeah, we saw that defense. We're like...
Yeah. Old school Big Ten defense.
But my problem is, Byron, with playing Penn State on the 30th, but the week before we're at Indiana, and that's trap game, man, because we can't play defense right now.
We cannot play defense.
And to be honest, now I'm looking at this Big Ten thing, like Maryland has baby Tua. They can sling it. Like any team now who could sling it, I am concerned.
First, we were concerned about the running game. Now I'm concerned about the passing game. What's next? Special teams?
I don't think we'll get. At least we're being smart about it. You have the other people like, oh, we're concerned about the running, passing. We're concerned about. I have no concerns about the offense. Absolutely zero. No. But it's wild, man. And now just thinking about the stuff and now re-looking at the schedule, because we were like, max, we have one loss. Now we're at the max, but we forgot our ever dangerous rivals, Purdue.
Oh, we played Purdue this year? Oh, no.
We played them before Michigan State.
Oh, no. So our last 5 games are Indiana, Penn State, Purdue.
No. Our last 5 would be in Penn State, Nebraska. Oh, that's the last. Yeah. Penn State, Nebraska, Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan. The last 6 would be at Indiana.
Ooh, that is a tough last 6 games.
We didn't think so at the beginning because we didn't know what the Big Ten East was going to provide. Now they're out here doing it.
Man.
If Michigan beats Rutgers and Wisconsin back to back, I mean, because Michigan has to go to Happy Valley, and they got to go to Michigan State. This is
tough road games.
This Big Ten East. We went from, it's crazy what happens when you actually play games and not just look at preseason rankings.
Mm-hmm.
We went from this is going to be another smooth, easy Big Ten championship for OSU. Now, legitimately, I do not know. Right now, I don't think we'd win the Big Ten. I really don't.
The way our defense is playing, I don't see that either. Because I know Michigan State and Michigan has 2 very good running backs.
Mm-hmm.
And
Iowa plays defense. Penn State plays defense.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm glad we're not going to Penn State.
Oh, for sure.
Because that would have been Penn State basically at Penn State at night on Halloween. Oh, hell no.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I am glad that OSU has to make that a night game. They got to. They can't make this at 12 o'clock nonsense. They gotta have a night game. They gotta have a blackout. Mm-hmm. It needs to be the ABC game, 7:30, which I do like that they've been doing 7:30 instead of 8 because the games end a little bit earlier for people. But they got to make that a night. That is a day before Halloween. So you already know you can get those students in there going crazy. Like that has to be a night game.
Yes.
Anything will not cut it. It has to be at night.
Kevin Warren, if you're listening to this, that has to be a night game.
Byron, what do you watch on 10-9? Alabama, Texas A&M, or Iowa, Penn State?
Both.
Especially you got to watch both. But for the
multi screens.
Oh man, like this is gonna be wild. Also, it's too early right now, but we haven't brought it up. But we are in week 3. I have no Heisman favorites right now, man.
I haven't watched enough games.
I don't think Rattler should not be the hype. Remember, Oklahoma came in preseason number 2. Rattler was going to win the Heisman. They were going to win the title. That ain't it. I don't think they win the title. Shit. They might not make the playoffs if the Pac-12 goes undefeated.
If Oregon goes undefeated,
they're in.
Oklahoma is not getting in.
Which would be crazy.
Right. Go from number 2 to not making the playoffs.
Even if you go undefeated. Because their schedule is 2. So it's like, and they're number 4 right now. And Iowa and Penn State have so many big games. Like they're going to West Virginia. That's the night game. West Virginia this Saturday
versus Oklahoma.
Yeah. Then Kansas State is 25. I don't even know. Well, I guess I have to give it because it's respect because it's a rivalry. 10-9 Byron. We might just have to do a special on 10-9. It's Texas versus Oklahoma.
Oh,
Red River rivalry.
Why is that such a big day?
Yeah. 10-9 is looking very dangerous for the country in college football.
Man, what number is Texas now?
They're not ranked, but you know how rivalry games go.
Yeah. Because I remember that Oklahoma-Texas game last year. That was really good.
Mm-hmm. Their biggest opponent left is versus number 14 Iowa State, who's only lost to Iowa. So
Iowa State's another good team that always seems to spoil Oklahoma's season.
Mm-hmm. So 10-9, everyone, for college football. You got a couple weeks. Buckle up. Me and Byron might just have. We know we'd preview the Buckeye games, but probably after the 10-second pod, during that one, we're going to have to preview all the 10-9 games, the big ones for us. So,
because they will affect the college football playoff,
which will affect us.
I
mean, Penn State, Iowa directly affects us.
Yes.
Alabama, Texas A&M directly affects us. And you're asking why? If Texas A&M loses, they'll be below us because we're assuming we're going to win our games, hopefully. If Alabama loses, that's a problem because they will be ranked above us. They will be a one-loss team. And if we win the Big Ten, they'll be like, oh, do we want a Big Ten champ? Well, one-loss Big Ten champ or a one-loss Alabama? We've talked about this 2 weeks ago. The committee has already made that decision. They've showed it to us. You already know what happened. And then two of them won the championship. So,
yep. I think it was last podcast, the podcast before that, we said Ohio State needs to control their own destiny. It is out of our hands now.
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, sure, we have to beat Penn State, all of them, but there's some other games here like, man, it's like, I don't know. Like, what if Penn State only loses to Ohio State?
Or Ohio State.
And then Ohio State goes, or like Iowa loses. It's like, so what if something crazy happens that Iowa, Penn State, and Ohio State all end with just one loss? And what if Michigan really crashes this party?
Michigan can.
If they beat Penn State and Ohio State in the state, it's way too early, but if they beat Penn State and Ohio State, they're going to potentially get in. Because they would have been, they would be in the top 10 by then. They'd be in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
And they're flying under the radar.
A game, Iowa.
Mm-hmm. And they're flying under the radar, man.
Man. When does Iowa and Wisconsin play? Do they play this year? Because that would determine who comes out the West.
Who comes out of the Big Ten West? Yep. Let's pull it up. Let's see if they got trap games in between, too.
Don't tell me that's...
No, it can't be 10-9 because they play Penn State on 10-9.
Right.
They go at Wisconsin on 10:30 when we're playing Penn State.
All right, that's another must-see game day.
12 o'clock. That's 12 o'clock at Wisconsin. We talk about Big Ten environments. You know, jump around is going to be max power.
Mm-hmm.
But in between Penn State and Wisconsin, they got that ever sneaky Purdue who's out there to ruin somebody's season.
Yep.
And then 11-13. If he wasn't hurt, man, they play Minnesota. And Minnesota's pretty good. They've only lost once to us.
Yeah.
They got if Muhammad Ibrahim did not get hurt,
that would have been a very different Ohio State game.
We probably would have lost. I'm confident saying that now. So,
yeah, me too.
Byron, man, anything else before we sign off? This has been a great pod talking with some college football. We're already seeing that in a couple of weeks. We got some business to discuss on 10-9.
Circle your calendars. That's going to be a great game day.
Oh, man. With that being said, thank you, everyone, for listening to the L7C podcast. You guys take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.